Good morning, everyone. How are you? I wanted to come on this morning and talk about embodied professionalism. Embodied professionalism. Is this a term you've heard before? It came on my radar recently, and someone had used it as embodied leadership, and I kind of translated into embodied professionalism. Now, if you worked with me, or you work with me, or you have worked with me as a mentor or supervisor, you'll know this is a term that I use often. And I really believe in, and I think is really important, particularly in the context of trauma-informed practice, not only with our clients, but also the trauma-informed approach towards ourselves. And I felt like it was important just to kind of talk a little bit about it and how I interpret what an embodied professional is, or what an embodied professional is. So for me, being an embodied professional means having self-awareness. So when I talk about self-awareness, it's having somatic self-awareness, so body self-awareness. What does my body need? Where do I get energy? What takes my energy? What's helpful? What's not? Noticing sensations, noticing what's coming up for us in emotions and things like that. And again, always trying to find as much balance as we can. And if you know the concept of the window of tolerance by Dan Siegel, you can go away and Google it. I'm not going to talk about it too much today. We want to widen our window of tolerance, right? And I guess the other part is having an awareness of our thoughts, how powerful they are. Really thinking about things like the inner critic that creeps in often, and that often doesn't feel welcome, even though it's keeping us safe. And it's a threat response. But at the same time, the inner critic is something that feels uncomfortable. It often can make us feel like we're not worthy, or bring up shame, or imposter syndrome is one that I know I can relate to, and many professionals have shared with me is something they relate to and resonates with them. So being aware of our thoughts and how powerful they are, and actively challenging them when we can, and offering compassion to those more heavier, more difficult thoughts that aren't helpful and aren't serving us, and knowing that they're just there to keep us safe. It's all about safety, somatic, physiological, neurological safety. Yeah. And we know, again, very briefly, I was going about this, that from an autonomic nervous system perspective and a somatic perspective, the brain and the body are constantly working together, right? It's beautiful and powerful and amazing how the body and mind works together. Each cell, each chemical that the body releases, each thought, it's all kind of working together. And the intention for us is to find balance within that, because our autonomic nervous system, our ANS, is constantly working to keep us safe. It's about survival. So we fluctuate and we move between different states of threat, of rest and digest, fight, flight, freeze, flop, in more extremes and less extremes. And it's about balance. I was going about balance. So being an embodied professional is trying to find as much balance as we can. Also to be as centered as we can be. And for me, a big part of that is having a compassionate lens. So, as you may know, I'm trained in compassion mind training. I've also done some work and some studies in compassion focused therapy. And this work is by Paul Gilbert. Again, go check him out. And there's a lot of other theorists that work with compassion. We have Tara Brach and other wonderful people. And when we think about compassion, it's about, again, working with the body and those threat systems and those reactions that maybe are heavier, more uncomfortable, that inner critic, those unhelpful thoughts, with compassion. Knowing that we're only human and we don't have to be perfect, but yet really acknowledging what's coming up and being with it as best we can, moving through it as best we can in a healthy way. Now, why is this important? It's important because when we hold spaces for our clients, whether it's in a group or a one-to-one setting, we want to feel balanced. We want to feel grounded. We want to feel that we can really hold a safe enough, supportive, trauma-informed space. Trauma-informed being a space where we can collaborate with our clients, where we can share ideas, where our clients feel safe enough, where we're able to resource them and help them stabilize, where we're able to consider what practice would be best for them, what resource would be best for them. Do they, again, thinking about in the same way as we ask ourselves, do I need more energy or less energy? What ANS state am I in? What reactions am I noticing? We want the same for our clients. So that whether we're doing talking therapies or more like me in the integrative somatic side of things, we want them to have more awareness so they can be more resourced, build more tolerance, feel more resilient, feel more in control as well. So these are the things to consider. And I have learned over time that for me to really be an embodied professional, before any group, before any one-to-one event, I need to really check in with myself. How am I feeling? What's going on for me? Am I in a place where I can hold a safe enough space? Am I in a place where I can find balance? And if I'm not, and if I don't feel safe enough, the kind of, I guess the extreme version of that is I need to cancel that event or that one-to-one because I'm not going to be able to offer my clients the service that they deserve and that they should be getting, so that they feel safe enough, that they can make changes, that they can feel held and witnessed and supported, and I can help hold them and be with them fully. Or I need to then tap into my toolkit and think about, okay, do I need to move? Do I need to meditate? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to kind of ground myself, or maybe journal, maybe breathe? What can I do to bring myself into the moment so that I feel balanced enough and resourced enough to be an embodied professional? For me, embodied again is working with balance, working with our different ANS states. It's working with compassion. It's thinking about our trauma-informed principles. And this can sometimes be a concept that a lot of professionals find difficult. I know I've worked with mentees and supervisees that have been like, this is a very new approach to use, where we actually in many ways put our needs first and have real self-awareness as a professional before we work with clients. Now, I don't think it's anything new. I think it's something that has been part of talking therapy training, whether it's psychotherapy or counseling or whatever in between, and of course somatic therapy or somatic work as well, and nervous system regulation and many other things. I think of all the training I've done, whether it was yoga teacher training or mindfulness teacher training, somatic therapy training, in fact everything that I've done, when I look back, I'm aware that I wasn't that embodied. I would often hold spaces where on the outside in, I would be masking well and I would appear grounded, calm, regulated. But the reality is actually I wasn't really listening to my body. I wasn't really listening to my mind. And I wasn't really practicing self-care. And I guess this is where this embodied professional idea is really important, particularly in the work that most of us do when we're working with people, particularly if we're working in a trauma-informed way, whether we're working with sound, yoga, somatic therapy, it really doesn't matter. If we are holding spaces for people where we want them to feel held, witnessed, safe, where there are clear boundaries in place, where the spaces allow for people to have more awareness, to playfully experiment with resources, to make changes so that they have more balanced lives and have more healthy lifestyles and approaches maybe to their body, to their mind, to everything, then we ourselves need to have that balance. We ourselves need to be aligned. And also from a trauma perspective, secondary trauma is a real thing, right? When people share things with us, we want to be authentic. We want to show empathy. We want to show compassion, but we take that in. Our body takes that in. Our mind takes that in. The more balanced we are, the more grounded we are, the more safety we cultivate in our bodies as professionals, the more able we're able to hold that. And then also let it go in a safe and beautiful way, not hold on to it because we ourselves are dysregulated, we ourselves are out of balance. So yeah, embodied professionalism. I could talk about this for hours, but I just wanted to share a little bit this morning, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think an embodied professional is? How do you work? Do you think it's important that we as professionals put our needs first before we work with our clients so that we're actually able to offer them the most trauma-informed professional service we can, to able to hold spaces safely, to be able, safe enough, I always say, because we don't really know what's safe for the person, to be able to process and take on things that we carry, to be able to create these supportive, nurturing, magical, beautiful spaces. And I guess I wanted to share that today because I've been doing a lot of collaborations recently. In my day job, I do a lot of co-facilitation. And I've been so fortunate that I work with some amazing people where we have very much this approach of taking care of each other, this awareness, this understanding. There's always preparation before any group or workshop. There's always a debrief. There's always reflection. What worked well, what didn't, how do I feel? And for me, it's become part of my practice that I really somatically, that's the biggest thing for me personally, I really somatically and neurologically prepare for any workshop, anything that's coming up, and check in with myself, a little body scan. How am I doing? How are my thoughts? How's my heart? Where am I with compassion? Is there stuff going on right now in my life that feels activating that I need to work with before I can be in this space and hold that safe in a safe enough way? So yeah, there we go. That's my little snippet for this morning, embodied professionalism. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you're all well. Happy Tuesday. I'm working today and tomorrow, and then I'm off to Copenhagen on Thursday, there for a few days, and then off to the Mella Music and Yoga Festival in Sweden for 7 days of restoration. Beautiful, nurturing food, nature. The weather's looking amazing. I feel, oh my gosh, thank you, universe. I'm going with my mum, so I'm incredibly grateful, especially for her, because this is always very special that my mum can experience these events with me. She's an amazing person and she deserves joy and love and nurturing. And I'm so grateful that she can have that and have nice weather. So thank you, universe. And yeah, that's my news this morning. Okay, I better get to work. I hope you're all well. Take good care, and wishing you a beautiful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. From me, Corey, the face of Koa, my brand, and my business, and Koa Unplugged, the podcast. Take care, everyone.